Thanks so much for having me here today. My name is Jake Elkin, and trombone is my primary instrument. I also play tuba, I also play euphonium. Actually in the trombone trio, Skyline Bones, that mostly we're going to be listening to today, I usually play bass trombone. Sometimes I play tenor. If you're not aware, in New York especially, it's kind of accepted that brass players and particularly trombone players double on multiple instruments. Part of the reason is because of Broadway. Broadway has, reduced their orchestras more and more, so they have us play multiple instruments for that reason. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I don't skip over anything. I do a lot of new music. Recently I went down and did a recital in Alabama with a composers group down there. A lot of great guys writing solos for me. And of course my trio that I play with, Skyline Bones, we every year have been doing a new music workshop where we put out a call for compositions. And we've done 2 of those so far. They've been really great. I'm going to play some examples for that for you all. So trombone is kind of a specialized instrument for some people. If you're not familiar with brass, there may be some things I skip over today, just kind of assuming but don't feel bad raising your hand and asking me something if I skip over something, because I think it's an instrument that maybe people know a little bit less about than piano or violin, so if something's unclear, please just let me know. I think the most important thing that I want composers to know about the trombone is the way it fundamentally works, because the biggest questions I get is are you going to be able to go back and forth and play these notes? And if you're familiar with the harmonic series, you can actually know for yourself it's not such a complicated instrument that you couldn't map it out in the same way you might with a violin, or if you've written something for guitar. So then you can check for yourself and imagine, what's it like to actually do this? The instrument reads in C, so we read in concert pitch, but the instrument itself is really built around B flat. So when I'm in first position, I have a harmonic series built on B flat fundamental. And obviously that's the easiest place to play when things are as close as they can possibly be. So everything in the B flat harmonic series is all going to be in first position. Now, I'm not very warmed up, so this will be my warm up, but if I take a couple of stabs at this, that's why. So the fundamental is actually what we call pedal B flat. That's not so important for you to know, but just to know where it is, this note here. That B flat, so B flat below the bass clef staff, is our fundamental. It's called a pedal note. We use kind of a slightly different embouchure to play it. And then as I go down the positions, we go down by half step from there. So B flat, A flat, G flat, F, and then E all the way in 7th position. I'm going to show you that again just so you know what those positions are. We have first position, 2nd, 3rd is at the bell, 4th is past the bell. Should I tell them to come on in? Is somebody coming in? Going out. 4th position here. 5th position is this really hard to find place here. 6th position is about as far as I can reach, and then 7th position is further than I can reach. So you see that I have to kind of balance it on my fingers. But those are all the positions that we have. So B flat, A flat, G, F sharp, F, and E. But you can expect that we'll all have an F attachment as well, the trigger, which you can think of as just adding more positions. So by using the trigger, I can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, I see you're looking a little confused about that. So, and the real reason we have this trigger is to help us so we don't have to go to 6th and 7th all the time. So when I hold down the trigger in first position, it puts me in 6th position. If I hold down the trigger in 7th position, it puts me in 7th position. So then you can think of trigger 3rd as 8, 9, 10. 8, 9, 10, 11, and then that's it, okay? Because the positions get further apart. So that's why on a tenor trombone, you can't play low B natural. So I already said you can play that pedal F, pedal B flat below the bass clef stop. But the B natural is not accessible because you'd have to reach too far with the trigger. So we can play a low C. nice sound, but it's like one of the notes that just doesn't really exist on a tenor trombone. On bass trombone, there's another trigger that makes that note accessible. Anyway, so this is a little notes. Then, like I said, we build on the harmonic series. So going back to first position. This is what I'm not warmed up for, so give me a second. So we had our fundamental first partial B flat, then up a fifth to F, then up a fourth to B flat. Then we continue on to B flat, D, F, and out of tune A flat, the seventh partial, B flat. I'll do those first. So that's like kind of the middle upper register of the trombone. Up beyond that is the high register to extreme high register, going up to the 12th harmonic. This might take me a couple of tries too, we'll see. So that takes us up to like the highest note that you should write, which was high F there. If I'm warmed up, I can play it much nicer than that. But you can hear it doesn't have like the same strength and stability that you have in the upper register or the middle register. So when you write up there, it ends up often sounding like squeaks, and if that's what you want, that's fine. You can think of it as similar to writing like very high violin notes. Like unless you have a best player in the world kind of situation, they might sound a little bit squeaky. But that's how high we can play. Above that, I wouldn't recommend you really looking at like specialty players, like especially jazz players who are playing on a smaller instrument with a smaller mouthpiece. You might be able to play higher than that F, which is F5 if you're thinking in scientific notation. So F, the top of the treble clef staff. That's really as high as you should write, unless you know for sure the person can play higher than that. And I would use it sparingly. Good. Yes.
The smaller instrument, same tonality.
Yeah. So jazz players play on what we call a straight horn, so it has no F attachment. It also has a smaller bore size and a smaller mouthpiece, which makes it a little bit easier to play those higher notes, and maybe harder to play the lower notes. You won't normally see that unless you're...
Is this distance the same?
About. It's like slightly different, but it's about the same.
Okay.
So if you write a low B natural for a jazz player, they're going to sound pretty bad on it. Just out of tune most of the time. But you're not going to run into that much because most jazz players, you're probably just going to say, here's the chords, improvise. So this kind of instrument is what you can expect to write for most like contemporary trombonists, and certainly just for the groups I play with. So I brought some of my mutes, or I like to call them prepared trombone. Just because I think that's a nice way to think of it. It's like similar to how you would prepare a piano or prepare a guitar. Just fortunately for me, we can be a little bit more flexible. We don't have to prepare it just for like one piece. We can change it throughout the piece. But it is like a preparation. And often I run into pieces where it's like, okay, you gave me a beat and a half to change mutes. Not only like take one out, but put another one in.
Yeah.
So, those are the kind of things we want to avoid. There are some people that get like so good at taking out mutes, especially. There's like really funny competitions I've seen that people do. And playing with Will Lang, who you might know, the trombonist from the Low Bang. I've never seen a trombonist who can switch mutes faster than him. He's amazingly fast at it. But for the rest of us mortals, it's a good idea to give us like a little bit of time to take out and put them in.
What's a good length of time to switch mutes?
That's a tough question. I usually go with like 4 to 6 seconds.
Okay.
So if you think like if you're at quarter note equals 60, if you give me 6 beats, I will be able to do that. I might be rushing a little bit, but I won't be like scrambling. I've done some in much less than that. Sometimes, Broadway shows do this a lot where they're like, okay, play with the mute in. This is a straight mute, by the way. And then like, okay, now. So I'm already holding it, so I can pull it out very quickly. So there are like exceptions to that rule where if you want me to play with the mute for a short time, you gave me time to put it in, but then you want me to take it out in like 2 beats, I can usually play. That's pull it out. But that's what happens if I mess up. So, which I think is the thing. Like, often we're using mutes and like, okay, it's a mute. It's a very quiet, tender moment, and then if you drop it, it's the worst feeling. So, of course, we do our best. We usually have like a padded seat that we can put on, things like that. But especially putting in, like you can see, it takes me that time. To make sure it's secure, I have to put it in, I have to turn it. Okay, now I'm ready to play. So that's about as fast as I can do it. And if I have a page turn at the same time, you want to be aware of these kind of issues and maybe have a backup plan. Some of the pieces we've done in the trio, we've had to like add fermatas because they wanted, okay, one trombonist takes it out while the other's still playing, but there's still not enough time, so let's just hold this, give them the time to comfortably do it. If you're okay with that, that's great. If you're not, then you need to come up with another solution for that kind of thing. As I said, this is the straight mute, the most common mute that we play with. It does in fact like make the instrument quieter, but it also changes timbre, obviously. And if you write like triple F, we can play and get that kind of like shaky, buzzy sound. That was maybe a little too much, but you get the idea. If you listen to like Miraculous Mandarin by Bartok, like he wrote amazing stuff for muted trombone. Can be a really great effect, and you can expect everyone will have one. Cup mute is next. This one's made out of like plastic. This is the cup mute. It can be kind of hard to play low notes on this, but I have like a system where I extend it this way. So I don't know if you're ever working with a trombonist. This is a library card. It makes it a little bit longer, and for some reason it helps you play low notes on it. If you write low like that, some trombones won't be able to do it, but that's the secret. You can tell them if you know. Anyway, you can hear it's still like a muted sound. If I play loud on it, doesn't quite get the harshness that a straight mute gets. I would call it like a more muted timbre or dark. I don't know. It's so hard. Yeah, it's so hard to talk about timbre, but that's what it sounds like. Next is the harmony mute. Harmony mute is the first interactive mute that we have. It's complicated. You can do, this is what we call stem out. So you can take this part out. You can tell me if these sound drastically different to you, because a lot of times they sound more or less the same, but this is stem out. Kind of hard to play the low notes with that too. So that's stem out. You can also do stem in. Some people say like out all the way, which looks really silly, but that's what it is. That sounds pretty substantially different, I think. A little bit more nasal. Yeah. Then you can do like half stem. This one's not cooperating today. So yeah, a little bit different, and then stem all the way in. So yeah, I think with a room full of composers, yes, we can really tell. But sometimes if you have like one trombonist is playing stem out, another is half, and another's in, like they sound very close to each other. But those are all the options you have, which is a lot already. And then we can also play while covering it. So. So we have open and close with that as well. One sound I really like to use with the harmony mute is like playing it as if the whole mute is that way.
Wow.
Something really fun. David Taylor taught me that. It's a really cool thing to mess around with. The only problem with it is you can only play in first position.
That's right.
So it's really like kind of a limited sound effect, but it is a fun sound effect. Plunger works in a similar way, and it has open and close. It's literally just a toilet plunger. I just cut a hole in the middle so it doesn't get stuck. But this is what we use. And again, we have like really a whole spectrum of open to close. So I'm holding the instrument kind of like on my shoulder and with the edge of my hand. So when I'm open, it's something like this. It sounds very slightly more muffled than if I were actually playing open. And then we can go a whole spectrum from there. So yeah, there's a whole lot you can do with that. If you get really into it, you can even kind of like shape notes with your palm. I don't know how you would notate that, but even just by like like squeezing it while it's like
Now,
closed.
you can only do that in first position.
No.
No.
You
Oh,
can
because
play
you're
it
holding it.
Yeah, because you're
that
holding
makes
against.
sense.
It is kind of hard. Sometimes I think like plunger trombone should be its own specialty.
Mm.
Because when people are really good at it, it's amazing, and
Yeah.
when they're really not, it's hard. I play enough pieces using it in intricate ways that I feel pretty good about it. One mute that I didn't bring is the bucket mute. Bucket mute is super annoying. It dampens the sound and makes the trombone very quiet, which is lovely and beautiful. The only thing is it's very heavy, and if it falls out, it just makes this horrible crashing sound, and it often falls out. They have like new ones now. The one I use is plastic and hooks onto the bell, so I don't have to worry about that, but it doesn't sound as good as the old-fashioned ones. They're like this big. They sound cool, so if you really have a reason to use them, I would say use them, but if it's just like a minor thing in your piece, maybe think about using the cup mute instead. It's a pretty similar sound, and then write pianissimo, because bucket mute does make it quite soft, but I'm always afraid whenever I have to use it. This is the practice mute. This I literally use to practice in my apartment. So it's also quite soft. It makes the instrument like 40 cents sharp though, so if this is something you want to use, if you want it to be in tune with other people who are not using it, for example, you maybe have to like pull out your tuning slide, something like that. Recently I've seen some composers use this in pieces, and it can be kind of interesting. Okay, good. One of the other things I wanted to talk about is like, can trombone play fast? I get a lot of composers, and sometimes like really good composers are like, look, I made this part all in one position, so you don't have to work hard. You didn't have to do that at all. So like in my warm-up, I do the trumpet Clark studies. So obviously it's designed for trumpet, but I want to have the same kind of facility that they have. So I often play what I was just playing before there, which is Clark 2. So you can see I'm like using the trigger a lot to make that happen. If I didn't have a trigger, I never practiced it that way, but you can see I'm moving around a lot more to make that happen. But that's why we have the trigger. Now if I play the same thing, so that was B flat major, it makes sense that I can play fast there. If I do it in B major, half step up, it's fine. It's not a big deal. So people might say like write in flats for brass, and generally I would say yeah, it's a little bit easier for us. But if you're worrying about like facility, could have got more pitch there, but we can move that fast. We can play fast. What you want to think about more is like big leaps. If you have huge, I would say over an octave, you should be like thinking about it. I know that seems like ridiculous to me, but it's like, we have some contest pieces that like feature a ninth as a motif, and it's meant to be a big challenge for us. Yeah. So doesn't mean we can't do it with practice, but you have something that's like beep, oh, boop, oh, beep, oh. It's super hard. I played one of the pieces that I played in Alabama had like one movement that was like exactly like that. He was like moving between harmonics all in one position, and he was like, oh, well, it's all in one position, it should be easy, right? But it was actually one of the hardest things I've ever done. And I spent over a year really working on it. So if you don't have a year to prepare that kind of thing, you might, if it's within an octave, it's very safe. If it's more than an octave, sometimes that's fine too. I can go B flat, F, which is much more than an octave. But if it was back and forth at a fast tempo, we run into some problematic things with that. Okay, cool. So I have handouts, and I want to listen to some recordings. The first thing I want to give you is the Berio Sequenza number 5, which maybe you've all heard, I don't know. Certainly, as a trombonist, I spend a lot of time with it. And I did, on the backside, include what these notations mean according to Berio. So you can see how he wrote it. Nowadays, multiphonics are written a little bit differently, which is mostly what I want to look at, starting at like letter B. So we can see the circle note is our multiphonic, which is a sung pitch. So this is like probably the most famous trombone modern work. So a lot of people play, a lot of people are familiar with it. I just want to play again. This is going to start around letter B. I hope I'm still connected to Bluetooth. Probably not.
Battery full. Connected.
Okay, now.
There it is.
So you can see like the dotted line at the bottom is he's asking the player to shake the plunger mute so it makes this sound. That's what that notation is for. That's all you got, but this is a great piece to check out if you're writing for trombone to just know like what all can I do, because this is a really complicated piece. Of course it's a solo piece, so you have more time to work on it maybe. If you're gonna do like really detailed, like the chart that he has at the bottom of the staff shows how open or closed the plunger is, and I like what he did because it could be way more complicated than it is. Like it could be a line like showing me, okay, in this spectrum, but he's kept it like relatively simple, which I think is wise. Probably composers today, I mean I've seen pieces by composers today where they went, okay, it should be 25%, and we do the best we can. But if you're in like a chamber music setting, if everybody's trying to do that, it can get really hard. Biggest reason I wanted to play this is to show like what multiphonics really sound like, because I think a lot of people think like, oh well, I'll write a B flat for them to play and I'll write an F for them to sing and it'll just sound like a perfect fifth. Most of the time it ends up sounding more like distortion. In this case, Berio's purposely put some more dissonant intervals in the voice, but even like a perfect fifth. Obviously, we're going to hear the trombone sound louder than my voice because I'm not a trained singer. And that's another thing to consider is like, okay, this is somebody who spent their life learning trombone, not singing. Some of the things that are hard in this is singing the note lower than what you're playing or the same pitch. So it's pretty easy for me to sing above like that. That's about as high as I can sing before going into falsetto. But singing below the pitch is really tricky for me. Because my embouchure starts to change too. So just something to be aware of. Also, another thing to consider with that is if you're writing for a woman trombonist, their voice may not be able to sing below the pitch on trombones. Often with this piece, if it's performed by a woman, they'll take things up an octave, which sometimes sounds better. One of my favorite sounds to use multiphonics is like singing in a high falsetto with a pedal, the lowest notes on the trombone. Intonation is a little funny there, but you can hear the voice more in contrast to the lower notes. It's another thing David Taylor does a lot, which I think is really smart. It's a really cool sound to play around with. And I'd love to hear that more in chamber music settings. People seem to only want to write it for solos, but again, theoretically, we could like sing in harmonies while playing, but sometimes it'll sound very just disordered. And the intonation gets thrown off by doing both things together, right? consider that and just keep that in mind. So, next I want to show you a piece by my friend Anthony Izzo that we played recently. It's a short fanfare, so I'll give you the whole score. It is front and back.
Thank you.
Trying to save paper a little bit.
Cool.
So we played this piece on our last new music workshop, and I really like it. I think it's really well written for trombone. Anthony's a saxophone player, so I think he has like a good idea of, how the breath works in some ways. And I like they gave some nice low notes for the bass trombone, which is what I played on. I really like the way he uses, cascading lines between the voices. Some of it was really hard to coordinate without a conductor, like the 4 bars before letter E. But because it's in 4/4, it's doable. There's a lot of like 7/8/5/4 in here. I think he was really smart to write that part in 4/4. It made it doable for us to, kind of feels like it's out of time almost. So just putting it in 4 really helped us.
Sure.
You could hear the mute change was really like on the edge of impossible. So like in measure 31, what I did is in my rest on the last beat of measure 30, I pulled out my cup mute and was holding it while I played, so that when I got to 33, I could pull it out in 1 beat theoretically, but I was late by like half a beat or more. Luckily, it was like a small enough detail that, it's not the end of the world. But that's a really great example of like, this is on like the very edge, and maybe if we rehearsed it more and did it on a tour, I would get to the point where I'd get it every single time, but in limited rehearsal, that's really tough. So anyway, but we kind of did it, which is cool. I also like that he wrote up to G above the staff for the bass trombone, but then also down to pedal F. It's really nice to utilize that. I think he probably expected my G above the bass clef staff to sound the same as a tenor trombone, and you can really hear it kind of sticks out as a different timbre. Which again, we took it on tour. Maybe I could. But those are kind of challenging things, and I like a challenge, so we're always looking for pieces like this. I really enjoyed playing it. Any questions about that or Sequenza before I give you more music? No? Okay. So now, I'll give you one of my arrangements.
Looking at Sequenza and like, this would be a challenge in notation software program now.
Yeah, usually for multiphonics, what people use now are like the X note heads.
Yeah.
Which I think Sibelius and Finale both have, or I guess Dorico now.
Dorico has that too.
So that's kind of standard. It's slightly different than what we have here. Anyway, so this is an arrangement that I wrote while I was on vacation in Japan on a train. This is fun, but obviously I know the instrument. And I've been arranging for a very long time. So anyway, just pardon any like notation funny things, because I did write it very quickly while I was on vacation. But this was for one of our trio members, Nick Martin's other trio, which is the Allentown Symphony. An orchestra normally hires 2 tenor trombones and 1 bass trombone, so that's where the idea of doing a trio came from with our group. Trombone quartets are a little bit more common, but every orchestra in the world's got a group of 3. In Allentown's case, they schedule periodic concerts where they'll say like, hey, trombone section, can you come do a concert for this thing?
Cool.
So that's how we got started with some of the stuff, and now I write for them occasionally. Okay, you probably all know An American in Paris.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not an arrangement of the whole piece, because that would be probably too long for 3 trombones to play without having endurance issues. So I just cut out all my favorite parts. Okay, but you'll hear like some clarinet lines that I've found a way to make trombones play. Oh, that's not playing. What's wrong? Maybe, no, that's still on. Yeah, it should be. I don't know why it's not playing.
Strange. Just to like, did you accidentally put
Oh, I hit the
mute button?
Yeah, it's muted here. No, that's fine. Okay, sorry about that. And so that's nice because I can take credit for Gershwin's good writing, mostly. But again, like the bass trombone has a whole lot of range that I feel like a lot of people don't realize. Like it can sound good above the staff. At the end, I go up to high C in the first trombone. It sounds great on it, even though this was the last piece on the concert. So, but like I said, talking about endurance, like if I had arranged the entirety of an American Paris, it would be totally impossible. Like it's just too long for people to play with no breaks. Yeah, especially just notice like times that I gave trombone one a break just by giving the melody to somebody else for a little while.
What is this? Oh, is that a? Oh, that's just a cue.
Yeah. That's just a cue for the. Anyway, because again, I knew they would only have like a couple of rehearsals on this. Yeah, so like, you know, handing off the melody to the second trombone sometimes can make a huge difference. Like at 64, 65, 66, to just give like 4 measures for trombone 1 to reset its embouchure. Anything in the mid-high register, so I would say like F4 and above. If you're in that range for more than like 8 to 16 measures, you should give them a break. And a break can be 4 beats, and a lot of times that makes a huge difference. If you can give them 2 measures, 3 measures, 4 measures, that's even better. But keep that in mind as well. Okay, cool. Another piece that we did for one of our new music workshops. This is just the beginning of Rees by Anthony Green. This piece was written for alto trombone, tenor trombone, and tuba. So I played tuba on this one. And it has all kinds of interesting sounds that of course he gave us a key for, but I'm just gonna play it. You'll hear what he's doing. Hopefully. I thought it was a really interesting piece. It's like 12 pages, but a lot of it's just like air sounds and things like that. So it wasn't like an endurance issue. Coming back to that, if your piece is longer than 8 minutes for trombone trio, think about breaking it up into movements. Because past that, we start to get really tired. And if we have a movement, it's like, okay, all right, you know, give us a minute. Okay, now we're ready to go and we can play fresh. Anyway, here's the beginning of Threes by Anthony Green. Anyway, it goes on and on. It's a really interesting piece. I like that he was specific about what kind of air sounds he was using in this. Like, we can blow air in so many different ways, and usually we just get like, blow air, okay, well, do you want, or do you want, or do you want, or do you want? Like, there's just so many different air-related sounds that we can do. He also uses like consonants at the beginning, like there's just so many things that we can do
There's
that get
one that
amplified.
says XXX over it.
Yeah, so that one he wanted me to blow air while moving the valves. It's a little hard to hear with this, but you can hear it.
Okay.
In
And what
reality.
about this little curved thing?
Yeah, so that was one that was actually kind of silly, but I don't know, I have to talk to him more. Maybe he meant it. So that is, which makes absolutely no difference, okay? It's just theatrics.
It looks theatrical.
So, I don't know, that's one thing that actually has no impact at all. Really.
And then the tremolo
yeah,
one?
exactly the same.
Notes? What are the...
Yeah, those were
Like,
like
okay.
a fluttered air sound.
alright,
Yeah, which if you're not aware, we can also play like fluttered tongue with pitch.
yeah,
Get that kind of distorted sound, but just the air sounds like that, which almost has a pitch too, especially on
Yeah.
the tuba.
yeah.
So this is a really cool piece. It's on YouTube if you want to listen
It's
to it
very
to see
cool.
what other kind of sounds he. But he also did like mouthpiece hits. or
Did he
this.
have like a, thing that told you
Yeah.
what it meant?
Yes, and we had like a Zoom chat because some of it didn't make any sense to me. To really clarify it, but
Right.
he did his due diligence and really thought about it, which I appreciate. I think like air sounds are something that can really be explored, especially in the chamber setting. I don't think they tend to work in a full orchestra very well unless you have a ton of
A
people
lot
doing
of
it.
people, yeah.
But you can really hear the differences in this piece. And every time a composer says below air, I'm like, what kind of?
What kind of air?
And I usually just do whatever I like, but that might not be what they like. I don't know.
This is
Okay. So this last piece I'm gonna pass out is another piece we did this year. I actually meant to print the next page, but I just got the beginning. So this is a microtonal work, and I love microtonal music. I spent a lot of time working on it. So I started by saying we have 7 positions. Well, so that means if we have 14 positions, we get chord tunes, right? Yeah, etc. Right? So if we can do kind of whatever. I asked the composer in this case to write the cent deviation on every single note, and that's why we recommend for anyone who wants to do this, unless it's like strictly quarter tones or something like that, in which case there is like standardized quarter tone notation. But a lot of people today are, I don't know, this is using just intonation systems and stuff like that. So if you want to do something like that, honestly, instead of doing like Helmholtz notation or these other crazy systems that exist out there, if you just write the note you want plus or minus however many cents, that's the easiest thing for us. So I meant to print the next page of this. The opening is just a lot of B flats, but then it gets into some of the microtones.
Who is that composer?
Jacob Heinemann. He's a really cool composer based in, I want to say Kansas right now.
Oh wow.
So this is written for alto trombone, tenor trombone, and bass trombone. Alto trombone's super hard to play, but I know some good players. It's Colin Babcock playing it. And I'm on bass on this one. But it's a nice exploration. We just got to minute 4, by the way. So A flat minus 41 cents. Which is like the 7th harmonic from B flat minus 10. Like somewhere in between major and minor C chord there. Anyway, is it perfectly accurate? Definitely not. But we pulled it off the best that we can. It ended up being a really cool piece.
Very meditative.
Yeah, and this piece is how long? This is 11 minutes and 15 seconds. By the end of it, I thought I was gonna die.
Like held notes?
Yeah, so there's like a few breaks in this, but it's really on the edge of what's possible.
Yeah.
I was playing bass trombone, so even like my wrist was starting to hurt for having no chance to like put it down. So do keep that in mind. We're not like a violinist who can just play and play and play and play, or a pianist who can do an hour-long piece, and you know that's a challenge. But for us, it's just literally impossible. So this is like really on the edge. 11 minutes of almost nonstop playing in a recital of other pieces is really hard. But for me, it was worth it. I really liked the piece. I'm a big fan of microtones and kind of pushing into some of the more difficult things where it's like, okay, yeah, can I play this note minus 6 cents? And, I mean, the truth is, this might be kind of interesting for people. Like on my tuner, I use tunable. And the thing with brass is like our pitch is kind of like always in an area of intonation, and it kind of wiggles around in there. And of course, we train to make it wiggle as little as possible. I don't know if people can see that well or not. But, obviously, the green is like in tune. And what I like is I can see like this line, and you can see my pitch over time. So that green center right now is plus or minus 3 cents from the pitch, and you can see it's I have to work to keep it in that plus or minus 3. So anyway, obviously it's not like a guitar or piano where it's going to be exactly perfectly pitched. But
do you use it during a performance?
Sometimes. Yeah, I think for this we all had a tuner up on our stand. I have mixed feelings. Sometimes I think it gives you bad information or confuses people.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, as long as you're okay with it being not like a piano, it's not going to be perfectly tuned, but we'll do the best we can. We really enjoy that kind of thing. And we have the flexibility to play any microtone that you can want us to try for, which is cool because not every instrument has that, and not every instrument is willing to do that. I've had like discussions with violinists that are like, well, I can't move my finger that small of a thing, and it's like, well, okay, maybe fair point. Mine's like a scaled up version of yours, so maybe it's in some ways easier in that way. And of course, like with most instruments, if we can't hear it, it's very hard to play it. So, like for this piece, we had a MIDI recording that was very helpful. We could at least have some idea of what it was supposed to sound like, rather than just staring at our tuners or trying to find the relationships between the notes. But I really encourage more people to write microtones and just experiment with that sound because it's really fun for us.
Microtonal festivals still happening?
Johnny Reinhardt.
Yeah.
It's like a microtonal university now. He does like a Zoom thing throughout the year.
Because there used to be a festival every year.
I played it. Yeah, I did a microtonal opera with them.
Oh wow.
Which I think was the last like official, what does he call it? American Festival of Microtonal Music, AFMM. Yeah, but he's writing books and doing a lot of cool stuff. I think he's in California now. Anyway, that's everything that I prepared to talk about, but I'm happy to answer any questions or play anything if you have any requests, the best I can.
Any requests?
Top of my head.
Actually, I have a question.
Yeah.
So when you're, some of these chord relationships, like on the second page of this last piece, were you basing it off of like a specific reference pitch within like your line of the bass drum?
Yeah, like a lot of it looks like a scarier piece than it actually is. Like a lot of times what you're tuning is just a perfect fifth or a perfect fourth. So I wish we had more time. You know, we had 3 rehearsals on this really. If we had more, we'd probably spend a lot more time being like, okay, let's really tune this interval here. Cause yeah, that is the idea. It's like, okay, you're playing this pitch, how far off am I supposed to be from this?
Right, like for this piece, he was intending it to be within like the just intonation, pure
this
barely
is
vibration.
Yeah, it's like I think it's a 7 limit just intonation piece, but just based around this B flat minus 10. He's a really nice guy. Maybe I can give you his contact if you want to ask him more about it. We talked about it briefly, but we didn't get into like the details. I just wanted to be able to play it. So the first thing I told him was like, okay, we can do this, but write every cent derivation you want, because he started by, okay, just this B flat is minus 10. You will remember that for the whole piece, right? I'm like, no, we won't. Please just put it again when it comes back, every single time. And he was probably really annoyed by that, but it's the only way to just make it reliable, especially with limited rehearsal. You know, if we're the Kepler Quartet and doing a whole recording session and spending 6 months on it, whatever, that's a different thing.
What are the numbers 27, 28, 32 that are on the score?
Those are some of the pitch relationships, which I think he just left in the final score.
It's to demonstrate the ratio between each pitch. If you're looking at like Helmholtz-Ellis just intonation or extended just intonation, like they'll often work with very specific ratios that you understand which perfect fifth and like perfect fourth is like being combined, or which major third or minor sixth is being combined.
Yeah. So I mean, it's nice that you put that information in the score.
Yeah.
It's not super helpful for us as
I was
musicians.
gonna ask you if that
Like
actually helped you.
that information not helpful at all. We looked at some okay, this I should do perfect fourth for you, but yeah, that kind of information is a little bit too mathematical to really be useful to us.
So the MIDI was really helpful then in really figuring out how to walk into those.
I think so. I mean, honestly, the most helpful thing is just having, okay, you want this -10, and then we practice it and try and do just a little bit down from B flat. I mean, we did listen to the recordings. He wanted it to be improvisational in length, so I asked him, I was like, hey, do you want us to just put in headphones and play with the MIDI? And he said, no, I'd rather you just, even if it's less accurate, I'd rather be more of like a concert experience, you know, where we're intuitively deciding how long or short pitches are.
Well, you really have to use your ears, right?
Yeah.
It's not like,
Yeah, it's you know, it's like I can put my slide in the right place, and you know, if
So
my
you don't
lips
want
are not in
something
the
in
right
your-
place, it can be a totally different pitch. So I mean, I think that's why it's a relatively simple piece. Is because he really wanted us to be able to get it as accurate as we could by not overloading us with notes. I've done stuff where it's like 16th notes and everything has a different thing, and you know, I try, but when it's fast, I don't know if you heard that I tried to play the note 32 cents sharp or not. But here, because it's kind of meditative, you really get to sit with them. So it's more reasonable to do that. But I try my best. You know, even if
how
it's
many,
fast.
wait, I'm not really that familiar with microtonal, like, so how many cents are there between like a half step?
100 cents.
Oh, 100?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like $1.
Yeah.
Okay, now I get it.
It's a good system, right?
I like
Yeah, but
that.
most people don't really think about it.
Cents. Oh, okay.
Exactly. So even like with this, he had one note that is like he wanted a B flat minus 62 cents, and I was like, can we just do that as like an A plus 38 cents?
Yeah.
So
It's easier to think of.
yeah, whatever is closest
Closest.
within 50, it's easier, even if it like it might mess up your whole system of ratios. But if you want us to play it, it's just easier if you can do it that way.
So the 100 cents is between the whole pitches or the half pitches?
Between a half step.
The half step.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is Harry Parch, is his stuff based on that same
Yeah.
system?
Yeah, in a lot of ways, this is just like an extension of what Harry
Yeah.
Parch kind of started
Yeah.
with the just intonation and extended just intonation. I know that composer, he's really influenced by Craig Grady. He's a guy out in Australia who does a lot of study and writes some cool microtonal music.
There's also Catherine Lamb, who's like an American composer based in Berlin, but she does a similar, she calls it rational intonation rather than just intonation, but it's the same, different terms, but she prefers to use that because it's like really focusing on the ratio relationships as opposed to being so exact with like, it must be, 25 cents below the XYZ thing.
Yeah.
She's a composer I'd recommend checking out.
What's her name?
Catherine Lamb with a C.
Catherine Lamb.
How do you spell the last name?
L-A-M-B?
Lamb, like the animal, L-A-M-B.
Okay.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
actually has a tuba trio that
Nice.
is similar notation, so I have a feeling whoever wrote this probably
Could be, yeah.
saw her music.
Yeah, it could be.
But it's really cool, and it's also based on, it has like microtonal notation, but extended Helmholtz-Ellis just intonation and notation.
I hate Helmholtz, it drives me crazy. I
It's
don't know
very,
what
yeah, I was having a discussion with one of my professors about this, because he also finds it like too exacting to the point where it almost.
I just don't know how to read it.
Like you have to have a whole guide.
Yeah,
There's so
it's
many
like
different
learning, starting from scratch.
Yeah.
I mean, not really, but it's very different. So I'd much rather just tell me how many cents
Yeah.
different from it is. That's what I can, then I can sight read it. Like, we could sight read this piece once
Yeah.
we had those notations. Before, it was like, okay,
That was smart of you to
No, I mean-
request.
I've been around the block when it comes
Yeah.
to and that's what I do when I write too. It's just just write what you want, and then
Yeah.
people will do what they can to get as close as they can. I mean, sometimes it can get really cluttered. I guess I don't do that. I wrote a microtonal string quartet where I gave approximations, notation in a 12th tone system. And then I've spoken with them and been like, here's the actual pitches that they should be, but just do your best and approximate on this system. Because I have some faster things. But generally I would say, yeah, right in the center.
What is the purpose of the extra little flat sign?
Well, that's the Helmholtz notation.
But is this like double notation here? Like flat, minus 41?
Basically, yes.
Okay. It's like redundant.
A
little bit?
in my mind, but
Okay.
I mean,
It's not necessarily redundant, it's letting you know that it's like 2 flats below this,
Yeah.
but tuned to this cent deviation. So it's sort of, it's like all with, it'd be like saying like this is a natural, so that's all within the same indication, as opposed to like this is just reinforcing that they're the same. Like if you didn't
Yeah.
have the minus 41 here, it wouldn't sound the exact same pitch as if you had the minus 41.
I see.
well, and I think if you're analyzing the score, it could be very helpful. But if you're playing it, it's not.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, very cool.
So my trio's gonna ask you to write something for us. We'd love to
Oh, great.
do your scores.
They have a seed money grant.
Yeah.
Oh, congrats.
Oh, cool.
So that's me, Nick Martin, and we're hoping we'll have Will Lang joining us as well. I've already asked him. He says he's free, so fingers crossed he doesn't get a better gig.
When is the
We're looking at late January, I believe. I have to check with Nick again, but that's.
But you haven't done a call for scores yet.
Oh yeah, we're gonna put it out soon.
quick?
Our goal is
Because not
early
everyone has
October.
a trombone trio.
I know.
So people might want to
I want to give you
write
time, yeah.
something.
We'll send it out as soon as we can.
Yeah.
We're planning on like by October 1st to have that out.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, because we do a lot of calls for scores, so it's not like
For tenor, and bass.
Well, that's why I wanted to show these pieces redoubled. So if you want
Yeah.
to do euphonium,
Wow.
if you want to do
Everybody doubles?
tenor, we
Yeah.
could do that. If you want to do bass, we could do that.
Mm.
We could do tuba, tenor, alto. We could do bass, tenor, alto. There's a lot of options. So if you're feeling like stuck with this, explore other things. We're open to it. Can't promise you can find someone else to do that.
Right.
But tenor, bass is like a reasonable.
Tenor bass is what you'll
Pretty
have in any
standard.
orchestra. So if you're looking for like repeat performances,
Yeah.
that's what I would suggest.
Yeah.
But I mean, tuba, tenor, alto is super cool. I really like in that piece. There's a lot of really interesting sounds you can go with, and there are other groups that are non-traditional groups or double as well. So it's not outside the realm of the possibility if you're dreaming of tuba and euphonium or something.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.